As the capital of China, there are many reasons to visit Beijing. This is Katie from Creative Travel Guide, and today we share the things to know before you go to Beijing. Looking for more travel tips? Make sure to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. So firstly, let's look at the best time to visit. So the best time to visit Beijing is from the middle of April through to June and September to October. The winter in Beijing can be bitterly cold, with temperatures reaching -15 degrees Celsius. The pollution also runs high from November to March. However, summer months are hot and busy in Beijing too. Whilst planning your trip, you also need to avoid the Chinese national holidays. Golden Week runs during the first week of October, and Chinese New Year typically lands at the end of January, start of February. If possible, aim to visit Beijing just after a national holiday. Locals all return back to work, so attractions and sights are much quieter. So now let's look at how to get there. Flights are available for most international airports across the world, as well as smaller domestic airports across China. Beijing International Airport offers 11 different airport shuttle bus routes, as well as the Airport Express train, which runs throughout the day. Beijing is not an expensive city compared to the West, so you may choose to catch a taxi to your hotel instead. You could also get to Beijing via train. China has an extensive train network, so catching the train to Beijing from another city is not uncommon. However, it is worth noting that there are 4 different main train stations in the city, so check which station is nearest to your accommodation. So now let's look at getting around Beijing. Beijing is a large city, so you may wish to research the best way to travel around, especially around your hotel. Cycling can be an enjoyable way of getting around the city, with most major roads including bike lanes. However, depending on the time of the year, it can get warm in Beijing, and with so much to do, you may wish to save your energy for the sightseeing. The easiest way to get around the city is by using the subway system. This is modern, safe and convenient. You can even download the Beijing Metro app to navigate yourself around the city. Buses are another way to get around Beijing, with swipe cards making it easier for non-Chinese speakers. However, these are often busy and crowded. If you don't fancy the metro, then a taxi would perhaps be the best option for you. When getting a taxi, it is useful to have your destination written down in Chinese, as very few drivers speak much English. Alternatively, you could use Didi. This is China's version of Uber, and you can find it in most cities of China. So now let's look at the typical prices. Dorm beds will start at around 70 RMB, with private rooms in budget hotels costing around 200 RMB. For a private room in a mid-range hotel, expect to pay at least 600, and more luxurious hotels start at around 750 RMB. Street food begins at 10 RMB, a local restaurant will cost you around 100 RMB, and Western restaurants will cost you 200 and up. So compared to the West, China is a relatively cheap place to visit, but of course there are always ways to save some money. When you are buying from vendors in both markets and small stores, negotiate the price with the seller. Generally speaking, if there is not a price tag on an item, then it is an opportunity for you to bargain. Another way to save some money is to use the bikes. Around Beijing, you will see plenty of bikes literally everywhere. You can scan the barcode on these bikes using the WeChat app and pay a very small fee to ride around the city. You can also choose to eat locally, so stick to the local food and restaurants in Beijing. You can get a delicious meal in a restaurant for under 40 RMB, whilst Western meals are much more expensive. So now let's look at the best things to do in Beijing. Of course, the first thing you have to do in Beijing is to visit the nearby Great Wall of China. There are a few different sections that you can visit, and we have a full guide over on our website, Creative Travel Guide. We will leave the link in the description below. You should also visit the popular Forbidden City before exploring the Temple of Heaven and its surrounding grounds. Appreciate the architecture at the Summer Palace and get lost down the hutongs. Stay in a traditional courtyard hotel and make sure to eat plenty of local food, especially the Peking duck. Watch this video to find out the best things to do in Beijing. Then, to learn about the best places to visit in China, watch this video. We hope you have an incredible time in Beijing and stay creative.